Hey guys, so welcome to our section on minerals. And so we are going to talk about what makes a mineral and what are some of the questions we can ask when we're looking at whether or not something is a mineral. And then we're going to talk about a project that you're going to come into class and work on. So first, what is a mineral? And that's what this whole presentation is about. Let me move this over a little bit. But before we get into that, we need to revisit what an element is, because like most things, like all matter, minerals are made up of the elements that we learned about in the previous section. So an element is a pure substance that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by ordinary chemical means. So it's as pure as you get. And these are the 92 naturally occurring elements, which we just looked at in the last section. And here's the periodic table that we like to use, ptable.com, if you want to go and explore the different types of elements. So a mineral is a naturally formed inorganic solid that has a definite crystalline structure. So that's kind of a wordy definition, but we break that definition down into 5 questions that you can ask in figuring out whether or not something is a mineral. First question you want to ask, is it a solid? Minerals cannot be gases or liquids. They have to be solid. Is it naturally formed? So minerals are not supposed to be man-made. So if you have a man-made crystal or man-made quartz or anything that's made in a lab, that is not considered a mineral. A mineral has to be naturally occurring. Second question, or actually this is the third question, and I'm sure you cannot see this very well, so let me just change it. Does it have a set composition? And so what this means is that every mineral has a set chemical formula. So it does not change no matter how big or how small your sample of that mineral is. It's going to always have the same chemical formula repeating all throughout. And we will talk about this in class a little bit more, because this is where we tend to get a little bit confused. So we'll talk about that more. And last, is it non-living material? So minerals are not living and they're not made from living things. So it has to be completely inorganic. No, that wasn't the last question, sorry. I'm losing track of all my questions here because of this frame that keeps shifting. This should be the last question, but the last question is, does it have a crystalline structure? So minerals are all minerals are crystals because they have this repeating inner structure that is reflected in the shape of a crystal. And so the different crystalline structures will give the minerals properties, whether it breaks evenly or sort of in a jagged way, and we'll talk about that later as well. Okay, so repeating crystalline structure, that's what gives it the mineral structure. And when we talk about minerals, again, we do talk about the elements, and we just learned that each element is made of one type of atom. So each element is made of one kind of atom. So gold is made out of gold atoms, silver atoms, hydrogen atoms. So that should be reviewed. So minerals can either be combinations of different elements, or they can be one kind of element. And this type of mineral is called a native element. Also, because minerals have crystalline structures, they are thought to be crystals. So crystals are solid geometric forms of minerals produced by repeating patterns of atoms. So they're all arranged in the same way, and they repeat all throughout the mineral sample, and they're present throughout the entire mineral. So that's called a crystal, and all minerals are crystals. And this should be review here, that minerals can be formed of different compounds, because when 2 or more elements come together, you have a compound. So sodium chloride is an ionic compound, which we talked a lot about last section. Okay. So tomorrow we will really look at the 2 types of minerals. We have our silicate and non-silicate minerals, and you will actually have a PowerPoint presentation or a Prezi that you will make where you will choose a type of silicate mineral or non-silicate mineral to research. You're going to research some fun facts and you're going to present that in front of your classmates. So that's something to look forward to. And we'll talk about this concept map. This is how we're going to start our class tomorrow. So I look forward to seeing you. Actually, my 6th period, I will see you tomorrow, and 7th period, I will see you on Thursday. Have a good night.